Hello and welcome to the React for Beginners series. In this video, we'll be talking about form handling in React. So in the last video, we have talked about state management in React, and I've showed how you can basically change the state of a component, and then the component would do something depending on the value inside the state. So now we want to have a form inside our to-do list, which if we put something in the form and then click a button, that would add that item to the to-do list. So we just don't want it to be the same items every time. So for this, we need to know how to handle forms in React, and that is really simple. So over here, we just have this simple JSX that's basically looping over each item and just returning a to-do component. So a to-do component is just like this. It's like an item over here. What we can do is we could just put a form over here, and then once we click a button next to the form, it'll just add that item to the to-do list. So to do that, we could just put a form over here, form, and over here we can just make an input, and easy. Now let's have a button. So we have button, and then this is going to be button type button, because we don't want this to be like a submit button. And let's just put a text over here and do add item, and boom, we got this really simple button here. And I'm not gonna bother doing any CSS because that's not a fundamental part of React. You can just add some CSS to make something look good, but we won't be focusing on that. But what we can do is we could just add some styling to the button. So we could just do border radius for pixels, and then box shadow none, and then we could just do something like color, or let's do background color light blue. Yeah, let's just do this, and then we could just do color white. Let's just take this over here and make it a bit like this. Yeah, and then we have width. Let's do padding. So padding 2px. Let's just have a 10px over here. Let's make padding 10px on the top, and then 5px over here. On the side, let's do 10, and on the top, let's do 5. Because yeah, that's how we want it to look. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. We can just click this button, and nothing happens. So we could just add a hover event to the button. Let's just not worry about the CSS at the moment, okay? Because this is not a tutorial for CSS. So we have this button over here, and what we want to do is whenever we type something in the form, and if we click this button, we want it to add that item inside the form to our to-do list. So let's make a state variable in React. So we could just do react use state, and in the last video I've showed how we can create state variables. So we could just make a state variable const, and let's just remove this at the moment. We don't need this. Const to do items, and set to do items be equals to use state, and it's going to be an array. Set has no to do items at the moment. And now what I want to do is I have this item here, and so I need to have another variable. So const form value, and let's just make it a state variable. So basically what I want to do is whenever someone types something in, we want it to be inside a state, and then whenever you click the button, we want it to fetch the value from the state and add it to the list. Easy. So we could do something like const form value, and then set form value, let me put it an f, equals to use state, and this is going to be a string. Okay, now what we want to do is we want the value of this this form to be this state. So value equals to this, and we're gonna see why. Because for example, if we type something in over here, nothing happens, because we want the value of this to be the same one in the state. So we can just add an onChange event. Now, as I said before, React components have different events that allow you to manipulate the state or do something depending on an event. Okay, so we have this form value, and what we want to do is whenever someone types something in here, I want you to set the form value to that specific value. So we can do onChange, and we could have a function here. So this is going to be a function. Let's just break it to another line. Yeah, and this function will have E as the event. So this is going to be E for event, and this is going to take another function and just do set form value, and then event.target.value. So if you want to like ever access the value of like a form inside an on-change event, just take the event as the parameter and just do event.target.value. Easy. So now if you type something in, it's getting stored inside the state. Okay. So that's really awesome. So basically what's happening is when we're typing something, it sets the value of this to the value inside the form, and then the value inside the form is this. So it's always the same and it's constant. So like when you type, then it will change. Now we have this over here. And what we want to do, okay, never mind. So what we want to do is whenever we click this, it's going to add this value to the list. So we're going to have this function over here. So button, and we can have on click. So on click, and we don't need E over here. Yeah, we don't need E at the moment because we're not using it. So set to items is going to be, and this is going to be the to-do items, which is like over here, and then we could add the form value. If you don't know this is like basic JavaScript. So what we're doing is like we're creating an array, and the array will have all of the values of to-do items. So these 3 dots, they basically mean that this new array that we're creating will have all of the values of to-do items, and the form value will be like appended to it. So if we do this, if we click, it gets added over here. It's awesome, right? So yeah, we can just like type something and add, easy. And what we're going to be doing is just like removing something from the array, but that's going to be later, or maybe you can do it today. So what I want to do is basically I don't want to like add the same thing over and over again, so I could just use a ternary operator. Okay, so what we can do over here is like we can just check if this value exists in to-do items or not. So we could just do something like we do something like the array, so to-do items dot includes, and then we can add the form value. If that is true, we return. Else we don't return. Never mind. So it's not going to like work in this way. We need to either have something like this. So we could just do if this, then we add this, and bam. Now if we have the same thing over and over again, it should not add, but oh, okay, yeah, I messed up. So if this happens, then just return, and if this doesn't happen, else just set this over here. If we have the same value over and over again, it won't add. So we can just refresh the page. Number of items to 0, so we could just do test, and if we keep adding this, it won't happen. So what I want to do over here is like whenever I add something, I want it to like reset the value of the form. So we do set form value, and we can just set form value over here. So set to do items, and then just add it to like this. So we can just do clean the car, and now this removes this over here. And now if you have test over here, blah blah blah, this doesn't work. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to have a function that will like basically pass, like I want to like basically pass this as a prop to this. So if we click a button right next to it, if we click on this, it will basically like remove this item from the list. So we can have a function, like have a function, so we can do const remove from to do, and that would basically take the item. So now we can just make a new const, so const updated to do, and this should be to do items dot filter, and then we take each item over here, and then we filter it so that that item is not equal to the item that we want to remove. So this is a basic filter function, and now we can just do set to do items. It's going to be our updated to do. Now we can test this out. So if we refresh, if we do, oh, never mind, don't hit enter because we haven't like set something for that. And now if we have this test, and we are only going to like remove test from here, so if we click this, it's just removing test. Easy. So now what I want to do is basically just has this function as a prop. You can have something like pass this to the to do item, and we can just take item and then remove item, and we can just pass this as a prop here. So we can do to do item, and then remove item would be just simply this function, remove from to do. And now we can refresh this. We have this, and now we can make a button here. So we can do button, and if we add test here, we have this button over here, but I want it to be like inline. I can just add some styling here. So we can just do li display flex. Should be a flex box. Oh, never mind. So display inline block, and we can just make flex box. I forgot my CSS. Okay, so we got display flex and the button inside this li. So li button. We can just have x here, and then we can do li button. So li button. This is background color white, okay, and then color black, and then border none. Have this over here, and then font weight bold. This, and then we can do padding none, and we can have a margin left of 10px. It'll be over here, and if we click this, nothing happens. But we can just do something like cursor pointer. So if we click this, well, nothing happens at the moment, but we can add an event here. So we can do on click, and you see this, we got this remove item. So we could do e, or we don't even need e, remove item, and this is going to be our item. So we have this, and if we do this, you see it gets removed because we are manipulating the state of this over here. So if you add test, and if we do clean the car, we add wash the dishes, etc, etc. Now if you click this, it just removes these. Easy. This is basically how you handle form in React, like forms in React. So you can just make a really simple to-do list. Go to shopping, this item, and then we also have play games, and we can also do mow the lawn. So we have this huge to-do list over here, and we could just click this to remove this. Easy. So anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope this was helpful. And I also apologize for like not uploading for a long time, because like I was really busy with school and some work and stuff. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video, and I'll see you all in the next video.